What's up, people? How's everybody doing today? Please let me know if you can hear me. Was having issues with the mic earlier, but I think it's okay now. But just let me know. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hello to you. How do you do? So, what is up with all the people here in the place to be? A little bit tired today. Had wasn't quite a long haul trip, but I did have a um, couple 100-mile trip today with the tow truck exchanging a government vehicle. So I'm a little tired, and as a result, I didn't totally get to do what I wanted to do because I was out of time and tired. So, what's up, everybody? Howdy, howdy. Going to be kind of a short, abbreviated show. We will talk about some stuff, and then we will get going because I'm tired. But we'll have to get to the air tractor stuff later because I didn't get a chance to finish putting it together. As you can see, right there, the box is still there. So I put most of the stuff back in there because I couldn't get finished. But anyway, what's up? So I'm here. You might hear some noise in the background because my kid's in there making food. But what's up to everybody? That's me, Gooniac33.me is the website. Check out my stuff. I've got a whole bunch of new things coming, as I keep saying every weekend, but I actually have stuff that's going to show up. But check it out. I've been doing pretty good here recently because of the um, showing off the new stuff for new planes. So I appreciate all the new customers and sending stuff out still. Gooniac is still going. Nothing has slowed down. Everything's going the same as it has, just because there's cheap asses out there that don't want to spend money on stuff that's going to last a long time and would rather spend money over and over and over on cheapy stuff from slave labor. That doesn't mean that people have stopped buying my stuff. So I appreciate all the customers, appreciate all the support. But if you're interested in that stuff, check out Gooniac33.me. Ask any questions about burners or planes or anything, because I've flown a lot of different things, set up a lot of different planes, can help with setup. Or if you want to buy some stuff, I can help with buying stuff. So get a hold of me. Um, that's it right there. And I think we've had quite a few people chatting already. So let's check out who was in the chat. And I actually want to get up to the very top because we have a new member, and Miss Rachel Cho has become a new member of the channel, so I'm going to make sure to give her props. So thanks to you for being halfway around the world, number one, and then number two, paying attention to little old me on this little channel here, and always coming by to say howdy and saying nice things and becoming a member. So thank you, Rachel. And let's see who else is here. We've got Mr. Victor RC Jets, who's also a member. What's up, Victor? Got Mr. Slapnuts, who doesn't like my gay ass music that still has to play anyway because I don't want to get bored listening to myself talk. What's up, Vic? Spencer, how you doing? Send It RC is here as well. What is up, Mr. Send It? Mr. Paul McNeil, what's up? Mr. Big Chris, what's happening? Mr. Snow River, all these people are members. If you guys have any questions about merchandise, becoming a member, um, all that stuff, check a look in the description. It has all the info there if you want to know how to do that. But go ahead and do that. Becoming a member is cool because it supports the channel, and buying merchandise is cool because it supports the channel, but you don't have to do any of them. But there's PayPal info and there is Super Chat info as well if you'd like to support. Very much appreciated if you do. Anthony Lashee is there. He's a member. And Mr. Paul McNeil is there. Who else? Mr. Andy Cho is there. CVO Hobo is there. What's up with you, my friend? Flying Buddies has shown up. Mr. Wild Bill is here. Turn my fan on. Let's see. Mr. Mike Ford, aka Blue Sky Belly Laugh Club. What's up? And you are welcome. That stuff should be to you very shortly, hopefully. Unless there's some weirdness with the shipping stuff, which has happened. So I won't say it won't happen, but hopefully it won't. I think I said Snow River already. Miss Rachel Cho, she's Rachel Cho. I already said howdy to her, and she's got the little thing there. Who else? I think I've pretty much got everybody that's here. Well, I didn't because Rackham Roy's there. What's up, Rackham Roy? Snow River, I got you already. Who else? Big Chris, I don't know if I said hi to you, but I am now. Airvex, what is up with you? Howdy, howdy. Um, Tim Justins, what is up with you? You have stuff inbound. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I think I caught up to everyone, but again, a big shout out to Rachel Cho for becoming a member. Very much appreciated, and that is it for shout outs. So, let's get to the usual, which is asking if y'all got questions. Now's the time. But again, like I said, it's not going to be that long of a show today. We're going to keep it a little abbreviated because I am worn the F out. We have a new tow truck at work, thankfully, car carrier. And we had an electric Ford Focus with faulty batteries that needed to go back to be, because it's the government cars. So we lease them, and they are used for a certain period of time, and then they need to be turned in and swapped out for a new one. So this one, it supposedly has the range to be able to drive the distance, but the person who was driving it didn't pay attention, and it only made it about half the way before it died because the batteries were showing fully charged. But then, the only true test of a battery is to do a load test. And the only way to really do a load test without the proper equipment is to drive it. And he wasn't paying attention to the range dropping rapidly. So we needed to throw it on a tow truck to take it down there. My tow truck was down at the time, brand new with less than 4,000 miles and down at the dealer getting worked on. But we got it fixed. I got it loaded up, taken back, put on the truck, taken out to where it needed to go. It's about a 200-mile round trip. Did that today. But like I said, it's a tow truck, and driving a tow truck is nerve-wracking because it's bigger than a regular car. You're up high above everything. Every little movement on the wheel makes the thing move. So it's tiring. So I'm a little worn out. I don't do haven't much driving. That's not to mention loading and unloading too. So I'm a little worn out today. But anyway, question time. So if y'all got questions, ask away, and I will see what I can figure out. Roy, so wait a minute, Roy, wait, what are we here? Buddy graduating? Mr. Randy Evans, what is up with you? Let me try to catch up on the chat here and see if anybody's saying anything. So Big Chris is walking the dog. So, y'all got anything to say? Any questions? Let me know. Congrats, Roy, on your kid's graduation. Oh, okay. So Roy had somebody graduating. So big congrats for that. But anyway, like I said, I had a little bit of a drive today, so I'm a little worn out, a little tired. And that meant getting home later than I wanted and not being able to pull stuff apart and put it together. But if anyone has questions, and wait, so Andy says he'll be all the way in Australia. Oh, that's gonna suck for me, but it's gonna be good for Miss Rachel. But that's cool. At least I'll have a reason to go see people in Australia. Y'all. But looks like Mr. Anthony Lachey said he's cheap, but only because I have 64mm Outrunners more than anything else. Getting 400 F-22 90. Ready for some fire booties. Okay, cool. Just let me know when you're ready. But so the cool thing is everybody's been getting the new B1 I've been selling quite a few burners for those things, which is pretty cool to know. Um, so stuff is still going. I'm still selling fiery booties around the world, which is wonderful. So that's the benefit to having been doing it for as long as I have, and thanks to all of you that recommend it. Mr. Noons, what's happening? So let's see. Paul McNeil. We don't have you have electric cars everywhere. What are you talking about? You guys just don't talk about them. That's the only difference, Mr. Paul McNeil. Electric cars are everywhere. And guess what? Fords, the cars that I moved today were Fords. Um, they're older Fords, so they have the older style batteries, so they don't they've started to die off because they're 2006 15s, so the batteries are old. But they're good cars in town, around site, they're fine, but as soon as you start going on an incline at highway speeds, you notice that they drop off pretty quick, which is just a sign of age. Internal resistance going up. Um, and yeah, Paul McNeil, I can't wait to see it either, but it's going to have Gooniac stacks on it. I'm going to figure out another way to put on something that will either um, mimic a product drop, like if you're doing what do you call it, crop dusting type stuff. I'll try to do something like that. But I have a PC-21 that I'm going to be putting Gooniac stacks on, along with some guns, and then also have the next live stream will be the P47. So I'll be doing the P47 with some customized stuff. Um, so basically, I'm going to try to have all the streams planned out from here on out. And then I wanted to show something I got from one of the people off of Facebook, which is these are the 3D printed tail cones. Look kind of like boobs there, but anyway, the 3D printed tail cones for the new FMS for fail. So that's going to be going together here soon too, and I've got something special set up for that. Mr. Fred Barron, what's happening with you? I see you there. How goes it? Um, but yeah, so I've got these things to try out. They actually look pretty good. So this way you can take the original FMS, the plastic ones off, and then just put this in their place. So they're hollow. They don't add that much weight, but they do look pretty good, and they make the opening a little smaller, which helps. Um, so yeah. Oh, and then yeah. So here, with this, Mike Ford, it does some of these planes do take a little bit of work, but it's always worth it. Just a little bit. You might have to put a hole here, put drill something a little different here. With the radial engines, it's cool because you can actually put lights in the cowl, which I'm going to do with the D18 or BJ Tina, as Siri would call it, as I was trying to drive somewhere and um, talk through Siri in a conversation, and I thought it was saying Beach 18 or D18, and instead she was saying BJ Tina. So anyway, um, so I'm gonna do some cool stuff. The the FW that would look the best with Gooniac stacks is the one that had the inline engine, but they don't. That's not really a popular plane. But there's ways to do it. I'm going to do it on my P47. I'll have some stacks there on the exhaust, on the Beach 18, and then around the cowl on the inside engines, I'll have it just like the real one is. So yeah, Snow River, yeah, John Callan. Callan's a cool guy. He actually helped me with some of my burner stuff back in the days because he actually did burners. He just gives you the info that you need for burners to put them together for yourself. And he said, I give out the info for free. He said, I have no problem with you selling it, but I'd like to help you since you're a cool guy about it. So he helped me with some of the design aspects of it, some of the ways to get things wired. And I got that from Callan. So Callan's a cool guy. He has a whole bunch of free stuff. I got some, I paid for a couple of things from him, missiles and rails, like for my baby Fate, my FMS F18. He made the rails for it. So, but yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So the cool thing about uh, RC Geek has the tubes, which is cool. What I dislike is the fact that it has to go inside instead of just making the whole thing different. So I like these simply because they eliminate the tail altogether. And if this doesn't work how I like, I'll figure out another way to do it. But from what I've seen, that should work just fine. Okay, so this is cool. Anthony Lachey said he did. Someone did some testing on the freewing 80 millimeter Cougar. Was pushing about 2,600 grams of thrust, 2974 watts, 127 amp. Wow, that's pretty high for amps. Um, yeah. As far as the way it stacks up against the FMS 80, the FMS 80, even on 7S, is pulling significantly less amps and putting out significantly more thrust. But from what I've read and from what I've seen in videos, the new freewing fan is pretty good. Um, I know Slapnuts has been flying his. A few people have been flying that new plane. And if that guy's testing, he might have the timing crazy high. As far as I know, that thing should barely be over 100 amps, if 100 amps at all. So, but from what I've seen, the some people were flying for 4 or 5. I think somebody flew for almost 5 minutes, and they landed with 3.777 volts per cell with the 5,000. So it's a good setup. Um, uh, so yeah, we'll see. Um, Mr. Kenny, what's up, Kenny? How are you? Um, and yeah, I kind of agree with Slapnuts. There's no way it could be 127 amps. There's 90 millimeters that don't pull that. Um, that doesn't sound right to me. So, um, I have to try it. So if I ever get one, I'll hook it up to um, my testing equipment. I don't have a way to test thrust, but I have a way to test the actual amp draw. I don't use a watt meter. I use an actual uh, something. What do you call it? A meter, a clamp ring uh, around the positive lead, and then I'll take my battery tester and plug it in to the balance lead, and then watch the cells from there, and then do the math. Because I trust stuff that way instead of just letting a random thing. Sometimes they're not accurate. Actually, once you get to a certain, unless you get the right kind of equipment, they're not accurate. So yeah, so see, that sounds better. Um, and I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's the timing. So a lot of people think, oh well, if I just crank the timing up all the way to high, that's gonna um, that's gonna make things better. No, it's just gonna increase amp draw and increase heat. So I prefer leaving it on low, and then you get the best all around results. You might get a few hundred, or maybe even a couple thousand less RPM, but you're not burning up your battery. You're not burning up the motor with heat. Just like a car. If you pull the timing back, it's more conservative and it keeps the temps down. Once soon as you increase timing, run the risk of overheating and detonation, all that other stuff. It's the same thing with electric. It's just it works a little different. And that, with electric motors, you can tell by the way they sound, and a lot of people can't hear that sound. But you can tell when an electric motor is happy by the sounds that it makes. And yes, they do make different noises. When the timing's in the wrong place, you'll hear grinding sounds, and it's just the timing firing at the wrong time. Which is Anthony, you're a gearhead. You know how that works with cars too. So I'd be down to try one just to see, because I know I've heard a lot of good things as far as the new 8S setup goes for the 90. I've been really happy with that in um, the Eurofighter. That's been really good. So they've spent a little extra time on some R&D with their fans, which is good. They're behind, they've been behind for a while. So to see that they're actually putting that time and effort in is a good thing, because then they will actually start catching up to what other people were. So that's good. And yes, Randy Huffins, it's strangely enough, electric motors and gas motors are not that much different. It's just the fuel's different, and they run a little bit different, but they do the same things. So you won't burn holes in a piston, but you will burn your windings. So it can happen. But also, Mr. Slapnuts has been flying his B1. He got the B1, and again, like I said, a lot of people have been getting burners for those. I'm sent out a few this week. Hopefully, more to come. You'll see some from some other people here pretty soon. I've noticed that some of the others that are getting their planes together have to deal with weather and other stuff, so they've got to wait for the weather to get better before they can go fly, which sucks. It's going to be 20-something mile an hour winds in my place this weekend, so I don't think I'm going to be able to fly. I don't want to travel an hour to suffer in wind. So we'll see, and then maybe I'll throw together a prop plane and go fly someplace local. Got 2 places local here that I could fly. So we shall see. So yeah, and Spencer's plane looked really good. Hopefully there's more videos. I don't know if Spencer, did you have a link to your video? If you got a link, go ahead and drop it in there so people can see the video of you flying your B1 off the grass. And for those of you that are always asking, I think it's who is it that's always asking about flyovers? Yeah, we had Air Force One flyover. I wasn't here for that, but we also have the F5s are back. So I got video. I haven't posted it yet. I got some video of the F5s flying over yesterday. We got 5 of them coming in to do some training for the people off the coast. So yeah, and then tap off. Yeah, it looks like See, Oakdale's going to have a major crosswind, and it's supposed to be windy there too. I checked. So yeah, should be an off weekend for wind. So Snow River said there's one off of sand. Oh well, there's one off of down in SoCal, off of a dirt runway. I think it's down in near San Diego. Okay, so guys, take a look. The Fred Barron just posted the link to Spencer's video. Go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, so Spencer, he has a really good grass field, and he was able to get that thing off the ground there. So what is up, Michael? I see you, and I recognize that, but yeah, hopefully he'll get out there one of these days if we can find a better wind day. So anyway, y'all got anything else going on? Again, like I said, I didn't want this to be crazy long and drawn out because I'm a little bit old, tired, and busted. So check this out. My son got this for me for Father's Day. Desktop F14. And my oldest, he got me something else that's pretty cool too. He got me a Lego set of Formula One stuff. Both of those things are things that I like. So Formula One racing and aviation. So got some thoughtful stuff there for me. Then also I'm going to be working on getting this mic set up. My son got me a mic a while ago. I haven't been able to use, but I got a stand for it. And I'll try to see if I can figure out a way to make it work for what I want it to do. But yeah. So anyway, So yeah, take a look at that video that Spencer posted. Mr. Victor RC Jets, he got his flown over the weekend. I forget how many flights he got, but he flew his. Few other people, a couple people had issues with wings. From what I've seen, this is a plane that's supposed to fly like an actual bomber, which is not going to be like a full-on sports jet. Um, so it's going to be something that's mainly for show and not a whole lot of go unless you can figure out a way to make this thing work. Now I understand why freewing used 2 batteries, because that makes it so that you can do more per flight, because using that one battery will it gets pretty pretty hot just on 2 fans on one battery. It's not a good thing. That's going to be a couple over 100 amps on a single battery. I know the SMCs that everybody's going crazy over won't care, but guess what? With the SMCs, you can't use them in the B1 because they do something with the ESC that it doesn't like. So yeah, but and yeah, so Anthony looks like his oldest got him the same F-14. That's funny. But yeah, these used to fly over regularly here in the Bay Area back when they were operational. There's one famous, I think it was back in 2000. I think the year that they were um, retired. I think that was 2006. I don't remember when it was. But in this area, there was a female pilot. She came in to land at Moffett. She was one of the only female Tomcat pilots. And the plane was still above landing weight because she'd flown from someplace. So she had to do a few touch and goes. And the F-14 is not a quiet plane. So she was ripping around, burning off fuel so that she could get to the proper landing weight, and pissed off a whole bunch of people in the area. I don't know who would be pissed off over a F-14 flying over, but she was flying the F-14, burning off fuel until it was at the proper weight. I forget what year it was. I think it had to have been 2005 or 6, because that was the last year that they flew the Tomcat. But we used to see them here in this area often because this is a stop for their training missions on the way back from Lemoore. But yeah, so would love to see these planes in the air again, but be nice if somebody could. I mean, I guess they were nuclear capable, so they may not ever get in the air again, but it would be great to see somebody get one of these flying. So I don't know if anybody noticed, but there is a new plane down in Plains of Fame. They got a new Connie flying I think it was today or yesterday. So that's cool. A new big 4-engine plane. And it's here in California, down in SoCal. But yeah, so Fred Barron, it's crazy because number one, Moffett Field is what made this area what it is. It was a huge naval base, started back in World War I, and then went all the way through to World War II. And then it wasn't decommissioned until, or what do they call it? 1998 is when it was finally no longer an active base, and then they turned it into a federal field. So it still does have a military presence, but it's not a P3 every 20 minutes like it used to be. It used to be P3s everywhere. It was a Navy base that was for anti-submarines and a whole bunch of other stuff. But now it's not that anymore, but we still do get a lot of stuff. There is an so all the people that are here now complain Like when the F5s come in, oh my God, it's so much. No, I'd like to find every one of those people complaining about a jet flying over and just slap them until they stop thinking about it being dumb, because it's a plane. It's just dumb. So anyway, like I said, the Air Force One was here. They use it as a stop for political people. I don't want to be political, but I'm just saying that the president comes in here. The guy from Ukraine, the president of Ukraine, came through here. Who else? People from all different nations. The guy from Argentina is here. Somebody, So this is where they come in. And the blimp hanger is getting redone, and yeah, Karen's complaining. So I always tell people too, that people that do complain, I said, hey, this was before you, so don't complain about the way that stuff was before you came. Just because it's inconvenient to you doesn't mean that we're going to change it for you. So the military, they will not get quiet. Private contractors, they might, but anyway. So I have no problem with the F-35 blasting over, and they do it often, or an F-18 blasting over. I have a video of a C-130 blasting over. I love it. I got no problem. So, only reason why they do is because they allow them to, Paul McNeil, and that's the problem. Wherever there's big bases for like the Air National Guard, they tell people ahead of time what's going to be going on, but they basically say we're not going to change just because you're here. Get used to the noise. We'll try to make it a little bit quieter, but we can't make it. We can't say that we will, and I think that's awesome. Do your thing. You can't make if you want the one to be protected, you got to get used to dealing with the noises. So I ain't gonna complain. But yeah. So you're near Whidbey Island. So there's you've got the what do they call them? The growlers up there. Then there's two bases, two Air Force bases in Oregon. Um, the one there at PDX, and then the other one at Kingsley. So then we've got yeah, the F4s. Whenever there were okay, so whenever there were F4s, you'd know because they are crazy loud. But the one that was the loudest was the U2, because the U2 would take off and it would point the nose straight up, which means it's pointing straight down at me. The tail is pointing straight down at me. So you'd hear that until it was up to altitude. Yeah, so I can't imagine how loud it must have been for this place where we live now, because we're right in the landing pattern of the base. So P3s used to come in all the time. I mean, every 15 to 20 minutes there was a P3 coming in. Constant, constant, constant. I mean, always. So I can't imagine, this place must have been rocking like crazy back in the days with that whistle and rumble. And yeah, so but when I was younger, not only did we have the Air Force U2s, but NASA had a U2. So the U2 would take off, and the U2s, when they take off, they're on the ground for a very short period of time, and then they're climbing at no less than 45 degrees pretty much the whole time until they're up to altitude. And I used to watch them. They take off at Moffett, turn, head towards my house, and then start climbing. And their exhaust is pointed right down at the house the whole time, so the house is rumbling and shaking, and until the plane gets up to I could basically watch it until it was at the contrail, up to contrail height. So yeah, and they're slow because they're climbing the whole time. It's a glider anyway. It's got a very weird way of doing things. So yeah. GB, I haven't seen GB on here in a while. What's up, GB? And yeah, Andy Cho, you've seen it. The weird thing about the U2 is that it has a very low flying speed, so they have to keep that speed down so that they don't overspeed the plane. Um, so climbing, they'll do it, and then once they get up to altitude, then they have a very narrow window of um, their flight envelope. So a little too fast, something flies off. A little too slow, you fall out of the sky. So it's a very challenging plane to fly, especially with just those center wheels. But but yeah, but it's a cool plane. Noisy, but then so are the, let's see, the planes that used to come in back in the days. C-141. So who was saying C-146? What is that? I don't know what that is, but that's cool. But Chris, we used to have C-141s, and then C5, the C5As and Bs, which were incredibly noisy. The C-141s were noisy too because they had those old style turbojets, turbofans, which were just crazy loud racket. And yeah, Andy Cho, that is cool. That's one of the things those cars are made for. The Chargers, they got Chargers and Challenge. They even had Mustangs at one point to go run out there and grab the wingtip wheels, or and then they even have them drive behind the plane to count them down to the ground. But yeah, as Reckham Roy said, when you used to drive past um, Moffett, it was wall to wall P3s. They were everywhere, everywhere. So, oh, we'll see 146. I already talked about. Okay. We had one here, and I didn't get to go out and see it. I heard it, but I didn't see it. But yeah, P3s were everywhere, and then we'd always see them doing their engine out exercises. Two engines sometimes. I don't think we do one engine, but they'd fly with two engines out regular. You'd see that regularly. My cat making noise. Anyway, so Big Chris has an air show this weekend. That's cool. It's air show season here too, so we'll have on stuff. I'm gonna be doing my RC air show again this year in September, so we're going to that'll be fun. So Randy, actually, you know what? They did that same year. Um, the Concorde came out here too. Um, it was doing partial flights to Hawaii. So what they do, and I was going to school and where I work now. We're right in the landing pattern for SFO. So we got to see the Concorde several times a day for like a week. Looks like a kite. Um, Incredibly loud, but it was doing what do they call it? Exhibition flights, where it would take people from San Francisco partway to Hawaii and back in a very short period of time. Usually, flying to Hawaii from anywhere here in California is about a 5 to 5.5 hour flight, and if you were flying the Concorde, you could get there in a fraction of that time, simply because you're able to go well over the speed of sound and smoother, cleaner air, faster. But yeah, about that same time, the same plane came out here and did a few flights. I remember because I was in grade school at the time, and it was cool. Well, there you go. Yeah, C-141. I think my dad may have gotten a flight or two of those when he was in Vietnam too. Interesting plane. I miss it actually because it was a cool plane to watch. Um, as it would go down the runway, the wings would look like they were flapping until they got up to flying speed. Then they'd lift up the whole plane. The C-141s were cool, but they ended up getting overstressed, and then the C-17 was more capable, so they just cut it out. But cool plane, cool sound. I'll never forget the sound it made, and that big black trails of smoke as it flew by. So Anthony Lachey has a new plane. He's got the K8. I've seen good things about that. And then the success version for the T7. The T7A has become one of my favorite planes as far as the 80mm size goes. That's one of my favorite planes to fly at the moment. See, no, I heard about these people disappearing in submarines, and much as I hate to say, they kind of did it to themselves. It sucks, but oh well. If it was a true, like, really bad accident, I'd care, but I really don't. Anyway. So yeah. But anything else anybody wants to bring up other than me rambling about the days of old? Because I'm probably going to be getting off because I didn't want to be on here forever. Oh, and there's another thing too that was kind of funny since we had Air Force One here, and political figures here. As always, it almost always happens. Somebody took off in their private plane with no transponder, no radio on during the NOTAM, which is a notice to airmen to not fly off, not to take off. And I had a friend say, "Man, I don't know what happened, but I heard this really loud, a whole bunch of loud jets flying over." Well, this person broke the rules and to have three jets intercept them and take him back down to the ground. Not take him out, but they escorted him. That was pretty funny. But there's always somebody doing something. I don't know if it was F-35s or F-16s, but they got to him in a hurry. It just shows you how quickly they can get to you when they need to. But yeah. So anyway, y'all. And yeah, if you guys haven't, one thing I don't ever ask for is, always like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. But on videos, give me a thumbs up because that puts me in front of more people. It makes it so that more people can see what we doing here. I thought it was kind of cool. Yesterday, I was in a store and there's a local YouTuber. I didn't realize that they were local, but it's somebody here with over 5,000 subs, 5 million subs. Ran in the store. I looked and I'm like, oh, hey, I don't know. And I looked back and looked and pointed and he's like, yep. And I said, I thought I recognized you. He's like, well, man, how you doing? And left it at that. But he does some pretty funny stuff with he and his family. But there are some famous YouTubers here in this area. I didn't realize that. And yes, that's exactly what it was. And I know the whole story. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's probably some old guy who's used to just hopping in his plane and taking off and flying and jumping around, playing, what do you call it? Working the pattern or doing touch and goes, whatever, or just somebody not paying attention. And he got to have some fighters fly up alongside him and get his attention. Must have been fun, but he definitely found out. And I don't know if that means that you get fined by the FAA or get in trouble. But this is so the last time this happened, it was in Santa Cruz, and it was somebody flying it was a Cessna and an F-15 ended up flying up on their wing, two of them, And then another time it was over in Half Moon Bay. Some guy took off, and an old guy took off on a plane with no transponder on, no radio, and the planes ended up coming up alongside him and giving him a nice little wave and escort home. Um, but there's always somebody that does it. You're supposed to check before you go up, and they didn't. I can imagine what it must feel like flying in a little slow putt Cessna, and then looking off to your right and hearing and feeling some big old jet flying out there, telling you to get the hell on the ground. Number one, it's crazy seeing a plane that big fly that slow, but they can. They train for it. So. But anyway, yeah, Nate's plane's on the ground. He's doing the annual, so he won't be flying his plane for a little bit more. Probably, I think it'll be done this week though. But anyway, y'all, I think I'm gonna get going. But I do appreciate you guys being here, and I don't have any new models coming at the moment, but there are new models coming out still. Um, that new Cougar is looking pretty interesting. The B1 was, but I don't think I'm going to do anything with the B1. It's just a little too much. I have a whole bunch of new planes that have not been flown yet. I have the air tractor that's back here. I have the Beech 18. I have the FMS, uh, the racing plane. I have the FMS PC-21. So there's a few planes in the background that need to be flown, and will be flown. But it's just a matter of getting them out. No porno music yet, but it'll be coming. But there are new planes coming. There might be a couple new Timbers coming, or maybe a couple new UMX rebirths of stuff that's already been out there. Because that seems to be the way that they're going over there at Horizon, since they're not doing much of the FMS stuff anymore because they burned that bridge. But we shall see what else comes. FMS hopefully has some new stuff coming. I don't know exactly what it would be, but they've got new things coming. Um, so the latest thing from FMS was that cool little the Viper, the 15th anniversary Viper, which I like. Been quite a bit of fun, but I need to fly that more. I think I could probably even hand launch that plane, but fly it on a runway. There you go. That's a perfect story, Mr. JCB67. That's exactly. I'm sure that's what happened. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but back in the days down in South America, somebody had hijacked. I don't know if it was hijacked or if it was. I think they did hijack one of the turboprop planes from back in the days, and an F-16 had to take it out with its guns because it couldn't shoot it with missiles because it was an OV-10. It was too low and slow, so the F-16 had to get low and slow and actually take it out with the guns. So if that ever happened and nobody responded, they'd have to burst them out of the sky with some guns. So there's a whole bunch of cool stuff. I have a lot of things I'd like to do. I just don't have enough time to do it. Oh, wait a minute. So I've got even more planes. I have that FMS Rafale. And then I also have the new Swiss F5 that still has yet to be put together. And then I have the 70mm F104 still has yet to be put together. I got a bunch of planes. And I got more time, so How is Mr. Charlie doing? Haven't heard much from him at all. Hope he's doing all right. Not killing all his stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get going. I didn't want to be on here for much more than an hour, so we're going to cut it short, and I will leave the chat up for a few more minutes, but then I will we'll shut it down. But thanks you guys for being here. If the weather's not good and I can't go fly, I will probably do a live stream on Saturday. I won't do it from the field, but I'll do something here with the plane, most likely, so you guys can see what's going on. But yeah, let's do that. If there's no flying this weekend, there will be a live, and if is flying this weekend and the weather's behaves, there'll be a live from the field. But if not, I do want to do a live on Saturday, so I'll have to set that up just to chat with my peoples. But that is it, y'all, and thanks for being here, and see you on the next show. Adios.